Well, another 2-2 series tie. Anything surprising in these NHL playoffs? One team blows the other out, the next team blows the other out. This isn't just this series, this is every series in the playoffs. So the Blues and the Wild go 2-2 now. I remember at the first Blues game, Blues fans were singing, dancing in the street. Wild fans were complaining they're screwed. Then after the Wild clapped back, those Wild fans were clapping back at the Blues fans saying it's game over, baby. It is not. These teams are so evenly managed. So 2-2. Pretty incredible series so far. So a couple key notes that are the stories of the series. The first story of the series, the fact that Jordan Binnington comes in after Ville Husso is taken out. Coach Craig Berube says he put him in on a hunch. Look, to me, that ain't no hunch, coach. When Husso gets lit up for a billion goals, it feels like he didn't play that good in the last two games. Why wouldn't you go to Jordan Binnington at that point? The only thing holding it back is the fact that Husso's had a really good year and Binnington hasn't won in 9 postseason games. Well, that streak ends tonight for Jordan Binnington, who does well enough to actually win this game for St. Louis. The other big storyline for this is the St. Louis Blues blue line. Again, I hear a lot of chatter about injuries. I told you before, this is before Tory Krug went out. Before Tory Krug went out, I said, if you got Faulk, if you got Parayko, you got Krug, don't come at me with a whole bunch of injury concerns here, because at the end of the day, you're never going to go into the playoffs with a perfect lineup, but you can't lose your big horses. Boston lost McAvoy. That was a big horse. You cannot lose your horses in the stable. Your stallions got to play. So when Krug goes out, and I think he's the best stallion in the stable there, that back end for St. Louis, I was very nervous. I thought this could definitely be the end of St. Louis, but because they have enough depth in Parayko and in Faulk, what ends up happening? Let's see. Exactly what I said happens in the postseason. They play 30 minutes each. This is what happens, folks. You're not looking to run 3 equal lines. You're not even looking to really get your third pairing in a ton. If you want to, as a coach, you can run that first line pairing with massive minutes and get out of games, and you can do it the entire postseason. Duncan Keith did it for the Hawks on 2 runs. Doughty did it for the Kings on 2 runs. These guys are animals. They can play 50 to 60% of the game night in and night out in the postseason. You do not need to worry about saving them. Load management on defense isn't a thing, but it does get a little bit nerve-wracking when you have, hold on, we've got to read it out. Krug, Leddy, Bortuzzo, and an injury to Scandella again. Wow. No other Blues player passed the 20-minute mark in this game. I also want to say thank you to our super thanks that we ended up getting from the series. It was amazing. That's a big thumbs up from Coach Ryan D. We love the support. The $5 donation really comes in handy. Spend a lot of time, countless hours, a lot of lost sleep, putting great content together for the Wild and the Blues fans. We love this series. We love all our fans. Thank you so much for this. If you'd like to help us out by sponsoring this channel, head below the little heart with the $sign around it. The super thanks. Anything you can do ends up going a long way. But if you don't want to contribute monetarily, or you can't, it's no big deal. We love everybody that watches this video. So go ahead, give us a big thumbs up. It's free. It'll always be free. Likes help share this video, and that's a big deal. Comment down below, Wild or Blues fans. Positive, negative, whatever you want. I read them all. I heart them all. That helps spread this video, and subscribe if you're new here. We'll cover your team all the way until their elimination, and this is the best in hockey content. So thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for the super thanks. Thanks for the thumbs up. Thanks for the subscribes. Head over to our Discord if you want to talk to Coach Ryan D. I'd love to talk to you if you want to keep in touch during each game. Period number uno saw something pretty incredible from St. Louis. 18 shots on goal in the first period. Wow, that is quite the offensive charge. And these were all from very dangerous areas. So before we get into beating up Marc-Andre Fleury for letting a couple leaky ones behind him, we want to point out the fact that these were hyper high danger chances by the Blues. Most of them were in the circles or in the high or the low slot. Very few of these chances came from the outside or from the point, and that's during the entire game. The Wild only able to put 5 shots on net in the first period. That's not going to get it done, but of course they scored a clip of 20% because they score in the first period. You end up going in tied 1-1. That felt pretty good if you're a Wild fan at this point. Script flips in period 2, and in period 3, the Wild end up outshooting the Blues by quite a margin, 13-12 versus 7-9. I don't know what's up with St. Louis, to be honest. This was my concern with them going into the playoffs. This is why I called them a pretender offensively, like if it's not on the power play, it just feels like they're very inconsistent. They were number 23 in the NHL at directing shots towards the net. They're number 25 in the NHL at team 5-on-5 defense. That's really what ended up biting them in the butt in game 2 and game 3. So it's a very strange game. It's a roller coaster for the St. Louis Blues. Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down, but the average that they end up at 5-on-5 isn't always ideal, but it was good enough to take home a 5-2 win today. Kaprizov ends up causing the first goal for the St. Louis Blues. This is not good play in your own offensive zone. You got to chip this puck in down low. So it actually starts in the Blues' own defensive zone. You can see the 2-on-1 here for Kaprizov. He ends up getting bumped and the puck ends up shooting out, and the Blues, who are very good on transition, end up sending 3 deep, and that forecheck causes all kinds of problems for the Jordan Kyrou goal. Parayko here right away, like I said, on that transition, ends up taking it north to south, almost 150 feet. He ends up putting it deep into the zone here. The forecheck is on. That forecheck results in 2 St. Louis Blues out-muscling 3 Minnesota Wild down low. When you have numbers like that, you can't lose it. So Minnesota gets out-muscled by 2 of the heavier Blues, and you'll see Jordan Kyrou come in here in a minute. Everybody misses Kyrou as they're down low. So now you have 4 guys from St. Louis covered as that puck bumps out to the top. This is just great hard work by St. Louis. When you win a 2-on-3 like that, you deserve to score. And again, we say it on this channel all the time. When that puck comes from below the goal line up to the top, that is one of the best scoring chances in the NHL. So very difficult for Marc-Andre Fleury to make that save on those angle changes. Kaprizov's a shifty little bugger here, isn't he? He makes up for it, so he may have caused the first one. Kaprizov is on the wall over here. He's going to end up cycling this puck beautifully. Again, this is the trouble with St. Louis. They're not amazing inside their own zone. This ends up looking to me like a power play for the Minnesota Wild, but the Blues end up getting caught running around. Jared Spurgeon gets down low. What we see here is Kaprizov doesn't make the same mistake twice. He gets edged off by 2 Blues and he ends up cycling it down low. That's a perfect safe play, kid. Minnesota is going to jump in there. They're going to pick up that loose puck. And then what we're going to see is Kaprizov is going to be really slow and lazy this way. And that's a good thing. We like this change in speed. And he's going to find himself right in the high slot during the Blues confusion as the zone widens. We see Spurgeon coming down low. We call this a widening zone when it comes from one wall to the other. So I love defensemen that end up pinching up here. Spurgeon's truly elite. You can see Kaprizov in front of that net there. The shifty little guy has snuck in. That is not the guy you want to leave in front. And as you can see here, just like the last goal, when the puck actually gets to wrap around wide and then come up top, this is 2 angle changes for Binnington. Very difficult for a goalie to stop. Again, another high percentage scoring chance. So those are 2 very difficult saves for goalies to make. Great offensive zone play by both teams. The old guys, the veterans, get it done again. How about David Perron and Ryan O'Reilly coming in here? Look, Wild fans, we talked about Kevin Fiala, a couple other players. We talked about Robert Thomas, St. Louis fan. I said Ryan O'Reilly's elite. I had a great comment by someone. What about Joel Eriksson-Ek? I love that guy. At the end of the day, what Ryan O'Reilly has been able to do in a 10-year career has been nothing short of outstanding. David Perron, also one of the best, just under Ryan O'Reilly, not quite there yet. Once Eriksson-Ek and Fiala are able to put similar resumes together as these guys, we'll get there. Eriksson-Ek has had a pretty decent year this year. Kevin Fiala had one great year this year. He had a not a bad year. I mean, pretty good in the 56 game season at that point. So it looks like he's turning into a point per game player. But I mean, you can see in the playoffs here, it's been all about Perron. It's been all about O'Reilly. These guys have been dominant. And hey, look, I saw it coming. It's just who they are in the playoffs. You think of Corey Perry as well, too, when these come up. They're just certain guys that step up. They live for this stuff. Terrible reverse play here by the Minnesota Wild defense. This is a set play that normally happens, but he did not see O'Reilly stepping in. So the puck ends up here. O'Reilly is going to find a late David Perron coming in. Again, we talked about it, those angle changes from south to north. Perron ends up coming in here. Marc-Andre Fleury has to adjust his angle quite desperately. Perron with just filthy moves here, absolutely filthy, freezing the defenseman coming up trying to help. And then Perron crosses that famous Royal Road you hear me talking about. So when you cross this Royal Road, it doesn't matter whether you skate it across or whether you pass it across. The goalie has to make quite the angle change. Perron does it. He walks them all the way over. You can see all the net that's open here. That's why the Royal Road is so deadly. On top of that, the fact that you had an angle change from south to north, again, extremely Tough save for Marc-Andre Fleury to make. No blame on the goalie here for me. Matt Boldy, I love goals like this. It is a jammer. The puck is sitting right here. Binnington's lost his stick. You always got to like these clusters in front of the net. Look, how is the goalie supposed to have an opportunity to place? He doesn't have a stick. They're standing on him. Looks like a scene out of Goon. But this is fully legal in hockey because as you zoom in, the puck is loose and Matt Boldy is able to poke this one in. And it started to feel like, hey, maybe the Wild are going to end up coming back. They don't. David Perron ends up with an empty net. You know what? Empty nets are empty nets. There was a power play at the end of that as well, too. The score, again, doesn't reflect how close this game really was. It really was a 3-2 game if you want to go that way. But, I mean, these games have been bananas, not just for St. Louis, not just for Minnesota, but for the entire NHL right now. So, Wild fans, Blues fans, you got a 2-2 series tie. We called this one going to 7. Looks like it may get there. At the very least, we're getting to 6. So, this has been a very entertaining series.